All right, and we are live. Welcome to Show Me the Money Club with Sergio, myself. We have special guests today, and this is on the Rideshare Guy. This is the YouTube version. Audio podcast is available on all podcasting platforms. Today, we're going to be talking about deactivations and accidents and injuries. So we have two lawyers here today. We have Larry Smith, who is from SmithMarco, dealing with false background deactivations, issues with background checks, things like that. And also we have Bryant Greening from LegalRideshare, who is here talking about accidents and some of the practices and best practices you should do in the event of accidents, injuries, all of that stuff. So first off, we're going to get right into it. But if you need either one of their services, check the links in the description below. All their information, contact information is going to be there. Just tell them that RSG sent you or you saw them on Show Me the Money Club. Let them know where you came from. And also, last thing, make sure you smash that like button. All right. So, Sergio, thanks again for coming on. And also, Larry and Brian, thank you for coming on and sharing with what's going on. Because unfortunately, accidents are a major part because you're always on the road. Also, false background checks are preventing drivers from continuing to drive or getting on the platform itself. So thank you guys for both coming on, and we'd love to hear what you guys have to say today.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming on, Brian and Larry. We're talking today about two really, really important subjects for the driver community. The activations due to false background checks obviously is a major issue. And, if I may say before Brian says it, if you're a full-time driver driving 40, 50, 60 hours and driving 12, 1,500, 2,000 miles a week sometimes, it's not a matter of if, it's when you're going to get into either from a fender bender to a really serious accident. We discuss on the show a lot of numbers, but, last quarter, Uber did 1.87 billion trips. I am pretty sure there were some horrific accidents, either driver's fault, Uber driver's fault, or the other party's fault. And what better way than to get in touch with Brian, after the show, if you're involved in something like this, to find out what your rights are, because either due to fear of of getting deactivated or whatnot, a lot of drivers shy away from, looking for legal recourse. And you guys shouldn't. You really shouldn't. And the same thing goes for background check deactivations, which is run by Checker, which has a checkered reputation in the community, actually, to be honest with you. So with all that said, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to pass it to Brian to introduce himself, what he does, and we'll get into the show. Brian, welcome.
I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. My name is Bryant Greening. I am an attorney and co-founder at LegalRideshare. We are accident and injury attorneys. We've been in this space for about 7 years now. So we've been growing with Uber and Lyft. As I can remember when we opened our doors, Lyft still had the pink mustaches on the front of the cars. So we're part of the community. My firm focuses entirely on representing drivers who have been involved in accidents and who have been injured on the job. It's, you might ask, why is an accident and injury attorney on the Show Me the Money Club? Well, because that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to put money back in your pocket when you inevitably lose it as a result of a crash. Drivers are entitled to collect things like lost wages, the cost of medical bills, pain and suffering, when they've been involved in a crash. And what we've realized over the years is that many drivers are hesitant to take what's available to them in terms of insurance money, in terms of personal injury protection, depending on the state that you live in, and padding their pockets when really they're in their most vulnerable position. So the reason why I wanted to come on here, and the reason why Sergio and I were talking about this before he gave me the invite, was we want to arm drivers with the resources to protect themselves from the very beginning, even before an accident occurs. And then when the inevitable happens, arm them with the information that they need to present the best case possible to the police officer who writes the report, to the insurance adjuster who's taking the initial intake. And then ultimately, when you're fighting your claim against the insurance company, or if you end up in court litigating, making sure that you've crossed all your T's, dotted all your I's, and that you're going to maximize the money that goes back to you after you've lost it in this unfortunate event.
So, Brian, I have we do talk a lot about the 4 phases of the insurance policy that drivers have. Unfortunately, a lot of drivers have really no clue what's being provided at what step of the trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you quickly explain to our audience period 0, period 1, period 2, period 3? I'm sure you know a lot about it, and what each period is and what it covers, and with the policy that Uber, is providing us with an increased deductible now up to $2,500, which even if you get the small fender bender, drivers don't have $2,500 laying around, right? So to me, that's one of the important things. So coming from you, I think it'll legitimize of what I've been saying or trying to explain to drivers over the years, that know your rights and know what period you're in, where it begins, where it stops. And please, elaborate a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And I think I should start by saying that the insurance coverage really varies state by state. So what I'm about to say is more general. And you're going to want to talk to an attorney if you get in an accident in your state or about your state to know how you're covered. But to specifically address your point, there are the 4 stages of being a rideshare driver. Period 0, when you're not acting as a rideshare driver, you're running your personal errands, you're going to the grocery store. In that situation, your personal insurance is going to be what covers you in the event of an accident. Somebody hits you, you're going to go through that other driver's insurance or your own personal policy. Period 1 is when you've got the app on and you're waiting for that ping. You're waiting to connect with a passenger, cruising around. Drivers are extremely vulnerable in period 1. There's a lot of states that don't really offer any protection. The rideshare companies are able to opt out of coverage for property damage, for uninsured, underinsured motorists, meaning if you get hit by somebody who's uninsured, your damages might not be covered by the rideshare policy. And your own personal policy may decline your claim because you're driving on the app. So you're technically on the clock. Period 2 is when you've connected with a passenger and you're on the way to pick up that passenger. In period 3 is when you've got the passenger in the car. Generally speaking, drivers have protection from the insurance companies that cover the rideshare companies during periods 2 and periods 3, but there are all sorts of gaps. There are states that don't require, again, uninsured motorist coverage. So I've got a client that I'm working with right now who was involved in a hit and run crash with a passenger in his car. He has no way of identifying who that, the at-fault driver is. His personal insurance denies the claim, meaning he's got medical bills, things that he needs to pay back. And the rideshare company's insurance is denying the claim too, because they didn't take out the proper insurance to cover that driver. So the legal term for that would be the driver is SOL, out of luck. So what we're seeing is drivers failing to appreciate their vulnerabilities and finding out the hard way that they're not protected. So there are certain things that you can do to protect yourself during all these periods, which starts with your own personal coverage. Because I can tell you, Uber, Lyft, and all the others are not going to change the way they're operating unless they're mandated by law. So you've got to take some personal responsibility for covering up those gaps. I recommend talking to various insurance companies, being honest from the start that you're engaged in rideshare or delivery work. So many drivers don't want to share that information because they're scared that their premiums will go up. Let me tell you, an extra $30 a month is well worth it when you're protecting yourself and your business. We are all entrepreneurs here, and we need to make sure that we're protecting our assets. And your assets include your car and your body, because if either of those fail you, guess who's not paying the bills this month?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with you. Thank you for the explanation. Really, it was thorough. Now, for all the chat, live chat, questions are flying. I'm going to refrain to just transfer your questions to Bryant or Larry, just for the fact that they have limited amount of time. Obviously, they have their own businesses to run. So what I would actually ask all of you is please, send their law offices or send Brian or Larry an email, introduce yourselves and ask your questions, because for an hour and a half episode, we can't really do all the Q&A. But it's not that I'm shining you guys off. Seriously, it's just a matter of timing and how much time these gentlemen have provided for this episode. So Brian, I was in a hit and run, just like you said. You're dealing with a passenger. I mean, you're dealing with a driver at the moment. And it was, by the time I could get out of the car, the guy took off. It was on the freeway. He hit me, and I had a passenger in the car. It was period 3. And luckily my car was drivable, but then I had to obviously, report it to Lyft and drop passenger off. And within 2 minutes of reporting it, Lyft suspended me. Now, it's not a deactivation. They suspended me for the fact that they want proof that my car is drivable for them to put me back on the platform again. So it literally took me 4 months back and forth with the insurance companies, with the deductible, to get back on the road with Lyft. But at the same time, I was able to drive with Uber, right? Which is kind of ironic that they don't talk to each other and say, don't let Sergio on the platform. He's got a banged up car. The car was not in that bad of a shape. So what I'm trying to say to you is that what would you suggest to drivers who have damages, but they are under the deductible of the $2,500, and, no tell, no show kind of an attitude, and they'll drive? Because look, I'm a passenger on both platforms. I get picked up by some banged up cars, man. And I'm like, this car should not even be on the platform, but then it is what it is. So what would you suggest? How do you deal with that deductible? That is quite high, actually, $2,500.
It's extremely high. And unfortunately, there's not really a way to avoid the deductible if you're forced to go through the rideshare company's insurance policy. That it just is what it is. But the way that you protect yourself is by taking out a policy with a smaller deductible on your personal insurance that will then basically fill that gap. There are many policies that you can purchase where you can say, I never want to pay more than, say, a $500 deductible. Now, again, you pay for that in your premium, but you're capping your deductible by protecting yourself from the beginning, telling your personal insurance policy that you want this coverage, that as a rideshare driver, you understand that there's this high $2,500 deductible, and you want to limit your losses. So it starts with being proactive. The second thing that I would recommend is you always want to try to mitigate your losses. Drivers are sometimes hesitant to go out and rent a vehicle because if they're used to having their own car. Well, it can be expensive to rent a vehicle. It can cost you $300 a week or more. But it's better to be on the road making money and earning, say, $300 less a week because you're paying the rental, as opposed to losing your whole $2,000 that you typically make. So it's going to be a process. You might have to save up some money to fix the vehicle, but mitigating losses is something that I always recommend.
Okay, awesome. So Chris just put up your driver checklist in case of an accident, right? Could you please go through these and explain what it is that they should be doing in case of from a small accident to a bigger one?
Yeah, the most important thing I think is to treat every accident the same, because every accident has the ability to affect your livelihood. Whether you're injured or not injured, you need to get the police out to the scene. Drivers, again, are often hesitant to do that because they don't want to slow down their night. They think if this is a fender bender, we'll just be on our way and I'll keep working. Well, the police are extremely important because they're documenting the evidence. They're collecting information from both the parties. They might be able to get your passenger to give their name and contact information when the passenger may be unwilling to give that to you. They're taking measurements at the scene. They're taking, sometimes they're documenting property damage. These are all factors that are going to go into the insurance claim, which is where the money is. We want the evidence so that we can show the insurance company and perhaps a jury, if it gets to that point, what happened. If the accident is your fault, we do recommend obviously being polite, but you don't want to make a decision as to whose fault the accident is. You don't need to apologize. You don't need to say, my bad. Just, provide the information that the parties are requesting, whether it's the police officer asking for your insurance, the other party asking to see your driver's license, exchange all that. But let the police officers, let the lawyers, let the insurance companies be the one to decide fault. You don't need to decide it right there. In the same vein, unless you're in an unsafe position on the road, you shouldn't move the vehicles from their resting spots after the crash. The reason I say that is because that's going to give the investigators a lot of information about how this crash occurred. Say there's two vehicles that hit, it looks like one is coming into the other person's lane. Well, the angles of the vehicles are going to help demonstrate the facts of the crash. If you move the vehicles and you both curb them, the other person can say, no, he pulled into me. And you're saying, no, he pulled into me. And then it's a he said, she said situation that's going to be really difficult to prove. Insurance information is obviously important. That's the basis of the claim. I recommend taking pictures again as evidence so that we can show property damage, markings on the roads, the positions of the vehicles. This is all extremely important. And in addition to pictures, which is not on this list, we've got to have dash cam footage. If you don't have a dash camera, you are shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to property damage claims, injury claims, what Larry's going to talk about later in terms of maybe false accusations or deactivations. This is all invaluable evidence. It's a cost of doing business. Spend the $100 and put something like that in your car. In the same regard, we need to talk about injuries. If people are hurt, make sure that you call an ambulance, get the medical treatment that you need. You want to start documenting the facts of your injury, the pains you're feeling, how they're progressing, when they started. All that goes into the medical records and is then evidence in your injury claim. So the sooner you can get in to see a doctor, the easier it's going to be for me to claim and prove that the accident caused your injury, because we see accident happen, we see medical treatment happen, and it all starts from there. The last thing I'll just say on this is many drivers are afraid to go get treatment because they're scared of the medical bills. They're trying to be heroes and saying, you know what, I'll just shake it off and I'll be fine. That's the absolute worst thing that you can do. You don't need to necessarily go to the emergency room where you're going to get $1,000 of bills, but you should at very least see a primary care doctor or go to an urgent care. So we're starting the process. If you feel better a day later and you don't need any more care, well then, okay, you've got that $100 bill that you've got to figure out how to pay, but you've protected yourself. If God forbid things get worse, well then we have closed that gap in treatment. There is no gap in treatment. I can then take your medical records and say, look when all this started. It started right after the crash, and look where we are now, 6 months, a year, however long you've got to be treating thereafter.
Right. Great info. I know you don't have too much time, but what I would like for you to touch upon is that, you mentioned the dash cam, right? I mean, unfortunately, a majority of drivers do not have a dash cam. And I think as you said, it's an amazing investment. I mean, it'll pay for itself. Like Larry's going to talk about, the activations as such, but, and in the case of an accident, I mean, what better way? The thing that I want you to also explain is that I think you're in Chicago, correct? You're based in Chicago. Okay. Yeah. So how could people reach you? And then do you provide services outside the state of Illinois, or do you have other, connections that if I'm in California and get in a crash, will you be able to take care of me? How the process works? So give us a little bit of how they can get in touch with you. Once they get in touch with you, if you accept the case, is it a free consultation? How does it work?
Yeah, so the best way to reach us is through our website at LegalRideshare.com. You can also email us at help, HELP, at LegalRideshare.com. Consultations are always free. It costs nothing to talk to me. If you reach out to Legal Rideshare, you're going to get me on the phone. So I want to stress that whether it's a fender bender, whether it's a catastrophic injury, or anything in between, you want to talk to a lawyer so that you're protecting yourself and you're knowing which path to go down. There are times in which I honestly believe that a person can handle the claim themselves. If you have minimal treatment, if we're talking about a simple property damage claim, I will tell you what to do. And then I will tell you, go on your way and do it. You don't need to pay me. If I don't think I can add value to your case, then that's going to be, you know, the consultation that we'll have. If I believe that I can add value to your case and that our legal services are going to be beneficial, then if you're in Chicago, I can definitely help. If you're out of Chicago, I can certainly point you in the right direction. And we have contacts that we trust nationwide. I've got a rideshare lawyer ready to go in all 50 states. So if you're in Wyoming and you get in an accident, I'm going to give you the consultation. And if I can help you, great. If I feel like we need to talk to somebody who's in Wyoming to make sure that you're best protected, I can send you there. So no matter where you are, I would be happy to consult you for free and then direct you in the right way.
So one last thing for you. I mean, I know you deal with Lyft and Uber insurance companies. It's not them, obviously. They have bought a commercial insurance package with some insurance company or not. How difficult are these people to deal with? I mean, because in my case, they were truly difficult. Like it was like talking to the wall. But we hear horror stories that, people try to handle their cases themselves and they're just not getting anywhere with the adjusters or the other insurance company, or even if the accident wasn't their fault. We hear that all the time. So truly, are they really this difficult to deal with? I mean, obviously they don't want to pay out, they're on the other end, but the drivers are making the companies. I mean, we're making them money. So to me, it's like, I think the best advice probably would be just to protect your rights. Other than that, but if you have anything to finish or add to whatever we spoke about, floor is yours.
Yeah, just to answer your question, the insurance companies can be very difficult to deal with because it's their job to protect their money. It's not their job to pass it out to you. There are cases in which drivers have great success by themselves, but I can tell you, you are making a mistake if you don't at least talk to a lawyer beforehand to know what your rights are. One of the things that I see all the time is drivers who spend the first 3-4 months trying to do it themselves and then coming to me and saying, hey, can you pick up where I left off? A lot of times I can, but a lot of times there have been mistakes made that make the claim much more difficult than it needed to be and make the recovery much less than it should have been. So if you call the lawyer, get the consultation from the beginning, at least you know what you're doing when you're talking to the insurance adjuster if you decide to handle it yourself.
Okay.
Then
one quick addition to that. I mean, we know the gig economy doesn't exist of only rideshare. We have obviously food delivery, package delivery, all kinds of things, Instacart. From what I know, because I see it on my statements, Uber or Lyft or Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, none of these companies are responsible if you get in a crash during a delivery, or are they?
Some of them have coverage. There is coverage that like DoorDash for one does provide some coverage to drivers.
Okay.
But again, oftentimes the policies are minimal and the deductibles are high, which goes back to making sure that you're protecting yourself for whatever platform you're on.
Okay, so you do handle, personal injury cases as well as, a delivery driver's case as well, if it comes to that, right?
Any person who works in the gig economy, if there's an app that's giving you orders, whether it's rides or food or anything else, we can help.
Thank you, Bryant. I really appreciate it. I mean, I think this is a topic that does not get spoken enough about, really. I mean, I think drivers should know their rights just like anybody else. Like I may be driving my son to soccer practice, get in an accident at period 0. I know how to handle that. But then once I have a passenger in the car or on the way to a passenger or looking for a trip with my app on, driving around, I don't think people know. Honestly, I don't think people know. And Uber and Lyft really don't do good enough of a job to explain this to the drivers. And it's really complicated, pages and pages and stuff. So if you have anything else to add, please do so. Otherwise, we appreciate you coming on and we'll see you in the near future.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you, Bryant.
And then also too, if anybody's looking to get in contact, all of their contact information will be in the description. So you can check that out. And this is going to be anywhere. So anywhere where you're watching this or listening to this, it'll be in the description of either the podcast or the videos.
All right. So Larry, how are you?
Great. How are you guys doing?
Good, good. Thanks for your patience. So you know, you actually work on something that's very near and dear to my heart. As a driver's advocate on this channel, and I've been with RSG for 5 years now. On anything that I write, driver to me comes first. I don't, because I don't think they're being treated properly. They're part of an algorithm. They're getting pushed and pulled. All the games they play with the apps, okay, fine. But there has been something that's really prevalent over the last, I don't know, probably, I'm hearing this quite more often. I mean, I do hear of deactivations, unjust deactivations by a fraudulent claim done by a drunk passenger or whatever not. And that happens quite a bit, right? But now there is something going around that's a little bit more sinister, which is, as supposedly making us safer or the platform safer, we have to go through background checks, unlike the passengers who get on the platform willy-nilly with a fake name and a fake ID, even no ID, nothing, right? So now, I hear a lot of these that, there is a problem with a background check and people are getting deactivated for stuff that they may have done. I don't know what the rules and, of engagement are. So you tell us, what do you work with? How can you help these people and what you do, and introduce yourself and go right into it.
Sure, guys. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. Bryant, that was very interesting stuff, by the way. I appreciate that. Chris and Sergio, I appreciate being here. My firm is a consumer rights firm, and we've always historically done a lot of work in the area of credit reporting and background reporting. Background reporting is the same as credit reporting. It actually follows the same laws, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And what we found is that when people go through background checks, and when you go to work for Uber or Lyft or any one of these rideshare companies, before you can start driving, you have to pass your background check, right? And then every year they're redoing it because they want to make sure that you've maintained your good standards on the platform agreement by not having any crimes, tickets, accidents, what have you. So you're always going through a background check, and they've been using a company called Checker for pretty much all the criminal background checks. And there's another company that they use called Safety Holdings, which does driving abstract checks. They check your driver's record as well. And what we found is that there's just a great deal of errors here. These background check companies can be very sloppy. So the first issue that we see a lot of are people getting mixed up with somebody else. I have people that have been driving for Uber for 5 years and have gone through background checks every year, and it's been perfectly fine. And then all of a sudden, it comes back that they're a child molester, or they've committed attempted murder or armed robbery. And it's showing up in their background check, and they've been like, I've been working here for 5 years. How come it's never come up before? I can't tell you why it's never come up before. It's coming up now. Chances are they've mismatched your name and date of birth with somebody else that has the same or similar name and date of birth as you. And that person's committed a crime, felony, has a bad driving record, and that's going to merge onto your record. So we see a lot of that. And so people are just being unfairly deactivated, having been driving, or even just applying for the first time and being, having no record whatsoever, never been arrested, and being told that they're no good to drive because of somebody else's record. These mixed records are happening constantly every day. And we're always getting phone calls from people saying, I got somebody else's stuff on my report. What do I do? The other issue is outdated records. You may have done something as a young person, and here you are 20, 30 years later, and maybe you got it expunged. And that's something that people could do. Marijuana is now becoming legal state after state. And I know in Illinois, as a matter of fact, one of the things they're doing is automatically expunging records. Well, the records are expunged, shouldn't show up in a background check, right? Well, they do. For some reason, they're accessing an old database and they're not pulling up the full record. They're not actually checking the most recent of the court file, and they're catching the old information. So people are getting deactivated for information that shouldn't even be on their background check at all. And another area that we're seeing a lot of is just misreading records altogether. A lot of people, I've seen a ton of drivers. They were commercial drivers, they were truck drivers. I've had people that had hazmat licenses. To have that, you've had to pass everything, right? You've had to be the most perfect driver. And they've got to the end of it. And they said, well, I'm done driving a truck. I'm done with hazmat. I'm just going to let that go. And I'm just going to drive a car, regular Class D license. But for some reason, the background check company sees a withdrawal, sees a cancellation, and they just throw it on the report without even seeing that cancellation was for a license that he's, abandoned or she's abandoned, not their actual driver's license. And so people are getting knocked off the platform for that reason. So we're definitely seeing major issues with background checks, knocking people off from either getting on in the first place or even people who've had years of experience and all of a sudden they're being knocked off.
So I have one coming up on my app. When I turned it the other day, it says requires your attention, background check. So I'm going like, I'm not going to click it until I talk to Larry or hear from Larry. I'm just going to go like, click it. Okay, I'm going to click it right after the show.
You have to know. And here's an issue that I've run into with Uber and Lyft is, so a part of the Fair Credit Reporting Act provides that the employer has a job here. It's not just the background reporting company or the reporting company, but the employer. If the employer looks at a background report and finds something that they don't like, hey, I don't like what I'm looking at on your background report. Is this you? Did you do this? They can't just, hey, I see this in your background report. You're off. Goodbye. They can't do that. They do that, but they're not supposed to. What they're supposed to do is send you a notice that says, we found this on your background report. And they'll actually have to show you what it is and say, get this corrected so we could hire you. If this is correct, we can't. Now, I've seen Uber do that correctly a number of times. They here's what's wrong with your background report. But what I've also seen an overwhelming number of times now is they'll just simply send you this email that says, like you said, Sergio, hey, there's something in your background check. We didn't like it. You're not qualifying. You should check out with Checker. Here's your link. Go to Checker's portal. Check it out. And you're going, well, what did I do? What did I do? And the problem that I've had is that a few people have gone to that portal and said, okay, now I've gone to Checker and it says I'm completely clear. So what is it? And, and so that's the thing is you click on it and you're like, well, nothing's there. So my answer to that is obviously just call me. I mean, that's, part of the problem is that they're breaking a rule and they're just not correcting it and they don't know how to correct it. They're supposed to tell you what it was. And if the Checker report doesn't tell you what it was, somebody messed up somewhere.
Right.
And that's something that we get to
the other issue that I talked to you previously, obviously, and I want to just touch upon is that, driver deactivations happen for many, many different reasons. And I'm not saying that every single driver is a great driver. There are some people truly should not be on the app. And we know from Uber and Lyft's own, safety reports that they bring out every 2 years, the assaults on passengers versus drivers are about exactly 50-50, actually. Half the time, the driver is at fault and, is a bad apple, but he squeezed through the system somehow and driving and doing unscrupulous things. And then the same thing, the other way around. But there are a lot of drivers that I talk to that they complain of truly unjustly being deactivated, not due to a background check, but, look, these companies have clear ADA guidelines. So if you have somebody with a, wheelchair, if you don't help them out, put them in your car, cancel a trip, they have a reason to deactivate you. However, there are other cases, in many, many cases, even with a dash cam, that a passenger may be, under the influence or drunk, just to get a $10, credit from Uber and Lyft, will just report on a driver fraudulently, obviously, saying that it happened to a good friend of mine and he's still deactivated. And in fact, Derek Kerr of the Markup did a national case about it. And in fact, I know Brian talked to him. His name was Jay. So, there's a lot of, and in California, by the way, as marijuana is legal to a certain degree, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have some guy that has some marijuana and gets in your car, right? And it's a short trip, your car is reeking of marijuana smell, truly. I always put my windows down or whatever not, but the passenger that gets, the next one that gets in after 5 minutes is going to smell. And they can say, oh, my driver, smoked pot because car smells like pot, and boom, Uber deactivates you on the spot. There is absolutely no ifs and buts about it, because that complaint did not go to a human, by the way. It went to some AI software with keywords in it saying that if you say under the influence, boom, we deactivate you. So what should drivers do, and what can they do? Can they contact you for these unjust deactivations?
Well,
and what their rights are?
I'll tell you, I mean, obviously it's not the kind of work we do. I'll explain though.
Okay.
This is a tough one because, obviously if, the rideshare companies are in a tough spot here, because if heaven forbid something were to happen to a passenger, who's got the deep pocket here, right? And who are they going to go after? They're not going to go after the driver. They're going to go after the company. So obviously that's why they do what they do. But so I've learned, because I've had to go after Uber a few times for not giving those disclosures, I've had a good opportunity to really kind of read over that platform agreement a bunch of times. And believe it or not, there is some help there. Okay. The platform agreement provides that if you have any claim that you want to make against them, any claim, you will agree to arbitrate. Now, that's, for most lawyers, that's buzzword for terrible, because we lawyers like to file cases in court in front of juries and judges and, have juries decide our cases. But in this particular instance, I think it could be very helpful for the driver. You have this platform agreement, and if you look at it, it's a contract, and it says that as long as you maintain the community standards, as long as you don't do any of these things that can get you deactivated, you can keep your job. So Brian talked about having a dash cam. This is the very reason for it, and this is why you have to have it. Collect your evidence, take your pictures. I think those are great bits of advice, because what you can do is, if you do get deactivated, read that platform agreement. It's going to tell you that you can't sue us, but you could take us to arbitration. And I know people will say, well, when I try to get information from Uber or Lyft, they won't tell me who it was. They won't tell me who said it. Hey, you don't need that. Okay. You have this arbitration agreement. It says the first thing you're supposed to do, I guess, is send them a pre-filing letter that tells them what your gripe is. And you have to give them 45 days to respond. Okay. And you get that 45 days. Now, they might respond to you. And if they do, you might get a phone call where you tell them, what happened. Now, if they don't want to accept you, you file the arbitration. There are two forums that they have them in. There's JAMS and AAA. When you file an arbitration, it's like filing a lawsuit, but it's not the same thing, because you don't have the rules, like the federal rules of procedure or the rules of civil procedure that could really confuse and scare people. Arbitrations are very basic. You just file, and then you get assigned an arbitrator. The arbitrator is usually a retired judge, so they have a clue. And when you get there in front of the arbitrator and you get your date, you get to meet with them, the arbitrator might ask, do you want to do discovery? Do you want to get some information? You get to tell the arbitrator, I want them to turn over what complaint they got about me. Now, if they say we're not going to turn that over, I find it very hard to see how they're going to possibly prevail in their claim. You're going to have your arbitration, and you're going to get up in front of the arbitrator, and you're going to have your dash cam, you're going to have your evidence, and you're going to show that I did nothing wrong. And they're going to have to prove that you did. Now, I know that's extreme, taking a case all the way to an arbitrator to an arbitration with an arbitrator. But that's what you have. And they have to answer to it. And it costs them money to do these arbitrations. So if you push that envelope, you might find yourself getting the answers you want. And if you don't, at least you're going to get your opportunity to have your, not your day in court, but your day in court, where you're going to get to talk to a person who's an independent and is going to treat both of you the same and give you your fair day. And that's pretty much the best I could do for that situation. It's a tough one.
I appreciate that, because I get emails constantly saying that I got unjustly deactivated. People don't know. See, this is like such amazing information. I appreciate it. But, the other thing is also a cost, right? How costly it is to file an arbitration claim.
That's the best. Like $105 at the most. Okay. It's so to file a federal lawsuit, it costs $402. To file an arbitration, it costs like 105 or 110. And they have to then, and this is where it gets to be a bit of a benefit, because somebody has to pay the arbitrator. Like, they cost money. They do, not you. If they had an arbitration agreement that made you spend all that kind of money, it would be unconstitutional. It'd be struck down and you'd have your day in court. But there's this law called the Federal Arbitration Act. And as long as it's fair to the consumer, it doesn't, literally prevent them from having a hearing because it's overly expensive, then they get to do it. So what these companies do that force arbitrations, and by the way, Uber and Lyft aren't the only ones that force arbitrations. All your banks do, all your credit cards do. They all force arbitrations. They have to pay for them.
Okay. And there are, I mean, in the industry that we're involved in, there are some companies that we think they're shady, right? They're trying to get the last $100 out of a driver, saying that, yeah, we'll get you reactivated. It's easy to do this, to do that, right? I mean, what do you say about that? And is this something truly a driver can take upon? And if they do prevail at arbitration, is there back pay? Can they require Uber or Lyft to pay them for the time that this process took? Because sometimes it may take 6 months.
My opinion is that your case in the arbitration is a breach of contract case. Okay. My opinion is you are technically suing them for breaching your contract. And so what are your damages for breaching your contract? Every moment that you weren't working when you should have been. I mean, they broke the agreement by listening to some nobody and not looking at your information. Now, maybe there is a period of time that they could claim, hey, we had to deactivate you. We got this complaint and we just, we don't have a choice. But maybe after a couple days of you saying, well, here's my evidence, now activate me, and they're just kind of putting up the talk to the hand, we've already deactivated you. I would say from that point on, the contract's being breached. Because you're showing them that you've complied with every term of their agreement and they're not complying with the terms. So there becomes a time where you should say, it's been a few days here, I've been deactivated, I've given them all the information and they've just ignored me. I'm starting to count how much money I'm losing.
Okay,
and
great.
As far as whether or not they could win these things, I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Well, I think, the way you said it, I mean, it looks like it's going to cost them more than it's going to cost you, because they have to show up, number one. And, there are thousands by the thousands, if you take them to arbitration, I mean, at some point, right?
Right.
Especially if you didn't do anything wrong, because Uber and Lyft have, I mean, I don't want to make fun of this, but they have an LAPD policy kind of, they shoot first, ask questions later. And I'm like, they just willy-nilly deactivate people, a great driver for 5 years with 10,000 trips and 495 rating. And they'll be like, you're gone because this passenger thought you were under the influence because your car smelled like marijuana. I'm like, the passenger before you just stepped in and reeked of marijuana. Now, what am I supposed to do? Like, go somewhere, get my car professionally cleaned before I drive again, because I'm losing money for the next hour or two just to get rid of the smell. So, I mean, it's a small minor thing, but it does happen all the time. And as a driver's advocate, this is great information that you provided. So just like I asked Brian, how can people reach you and the consultation, process, and you go ahead and tell us what that's all about.
Thanks. We too, it's a free consult. And just like Brian, you're going to talk to me too. I'm accessible. You contact us at our website, smithmarco.com. We also have protectingconsumerrights.com. We have a phone number, 888-822-1777. You'll hear from my assistant or me, but you're going to talk to me because I'm going to consult with you. Whether I can help it or not, whether I can actually take your case or not, you're going to talk to me. I'm accessible that way. We don't cost anything for the consultation. And if we take the case, we don't cost anything because the Fair Credit Reporting Act provides for the payment of attorney's fees. So I could defer taking any payment on the case and make them pay my fees when I'm successful. And as far as where I could represent you, these are federal cases. So my firm, our lawyers, we are licensed.
Chris, are you there?
We have federal certificates in, I'd say.
Okay, we're all freezing. Something is happening with StreamYard. So
you hear me? Okay?
You're there, right, Brian?
I think you're freezing. I'm hearing
Okay.
Larry talking fine.
No, everybody froze.
Sure.
Okay, Larry, we just lost StreamYard, our link. So just if you don't mind, go back through the last 30 seconds of what you said, please.
Sure. I don't know what you last heard, but I would say I'm accessible. Our consultation's free. I don't cost anything, and if we take on the case, the Fair Credit Reporting Act provides the payment of attorney's fees. So you don't have to worry about paying my fee. We defer our fee because the law says that the other side's going to have to pay our fee. As far as where we can take cases, these are federal cases. We have offices in both Sarasota, Florida, and Chicago, Illinois, but my partner and I are also licensed in federal courts all throughout the Midwest. Wisconsin, Michigan, Nebraska, Colorado, all throughout. And I'll tell you, I think there's maybe 2 or 3 states that we don't have a connection where we can handle your case. Unfortunately, if you're like in Montana or Idaho, I might not be able to help you. But everywhere else, if don't have somebody, if I'm not licensed there, if my partner's not licensed there, again, we have a network of consumer rights attorneys that we're friends with that handle Fair Credit Reporting Act cases that are always there to help us out too.
This is great. I mean, this is so helpful. Seriously, both of you, we thank you so much. Chris, all the info is in the show notes, right?
Yep.
Both
so
info,
if you want to
website.
Contact Larry or Bryant for either, a false background deactivation check or, an accident injury, again, everything is going to be in the description so you can get hold of them. And like they said, if they can't help you, based on where you live, at least they know somebody who can. So reach out to them because they're going to be able to be the best at help. Sergio, you said earlier, those fly-by-nights websites that pop up and try claiming that they'll get you reactivated or whatever it might be. You want somebody you can trust. You want somebody you can know. So you want somebody who's actually been accredited and, being able to do these things. So, either Larry or Brian, depending on your needs, this is the best way to get hold of them and at least start the process.
Right. I mean, look, guys, we have huge, we're growing audience, but it's growing by the week, by the day. We wouldn't put these guys on if we didn't think they were reputable and they knew what they were doing, right? We'll have a working relationship with Larry as it is, as well as Brian in the past, but I think they are truly experts in their own fields. And if you do have any questions or real issues, God forbid you have an accident or get deactivated, please get in touch with these guys. They are truly there for the driver. Any last words from you, Brian?
No, I just want to thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure to talk to your audience.
Thank you. And how about you, Larry?
Hey, thanks. Same thing. A pleasure to talk to everybody. I hope you're all driving safe out there. Give us a call if you run into one of these problems.
We appreciate you both. Thank you so much for showing up. I think you guys did wonderful, and what the work you do to protect drivers is amazing. So thank you again.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so we are going to move on with our show, but yes, that is some amazing information, especially one of the big things is when it comes to deactivations. And yes, Larry does, the checker backgrounds, the background deactivations there. And everybody's like, well, what about, X, Y, and Z falsely deactivated from a rider? Right there, that info is tremendous. So if you have been
I did not know that. Reason I didn't know that. I didn't know what Larry said. I honestly did not know. I was like, man, I've been around for 7 years, and I read the TOS page for page for page, and I was like, oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So
that type of information is great to know. Then, actually needing some sort of representation when it comes to an accident, injury, something like that. Because, the more you're on the road, the greater the chance you have of getting into an accident. It's you say, if not when, I say the greater chance, the greater probability. Knock on wood, I've been driving for X amount of years and haven't had an accident. So that's good. But again, at any time it could happen. You got some moron who's not paying attention, runs a stoplight or a red light, T-bones you. What happens then? So,
we talked about that, California legislature who was in a car and got T-boned because his driver was busy looking at his app, probably trip radar, right? And now he's passing a law that every driver has to get trained, right? Yep. So, I mean, if it happens to them, it's good. But if it happens to the driver, look, a lot of drivers shy away from confronting Uber in any case because they don't want to get deactivated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you have rights, man. And then these insurance companies that they deploy are going to jerk you around. I mean, they're going to jerk your chain because they don't want to pay anyway. So to me, it's like, yeah, I think this was great. This was timely, and they were both eloquent. And if our audience gets something out of this, awesome. Really, I think they did an amazing job.
Yeah.
So
it's just good to have your bases covered. You want that insurance. It's like having the dash camera. You want to have that no matter what, just because even if you're just driving normally, you want to have that because there's so much fraud and things that happen on a daily basis. So, just having those types of things available, it's just the insurance, it's peace of mind, and it's mostly covering your ass. That you have to be the one who covers your ass. These companies aren't. So yeah, you just gotta pay attention to that stuff.
Look, nobody, everybody says nobody likes lawyers, but in some cases, lawyers and doctors, man, they're necessary. Okay, because you don't want to deal with Uber and Lyft insurance companies yourself. You really don't. But push comes to shove, God forbid any of you or whoever's going to watch later gets into some accident, call Bryant. I think he's up and up. I think he knows what he's doing. And this has become actually his this has become an industry, because I see billboards in LA all the time, right? I mean, there are law firms now just specifically catering to Uber and Lyft drivers or passengers. You know what I'm saying? So to me, what better timing for this? And like we said, the Uber math that we did, 1.87 billion trips, right? Some shit's gonna go wrong. That's a lot of trips.
Gonna go wrong every single day.
Yeah,
I mean, you run the numbers there, and something's going to go happen at any point. And I mean, they have their safety report, but it's not going to show you every fender bender. It's going to show you the major accidents. So yeah. All right. So we just want to say thank you again to Bryant Greening from LegalRideshare and also Larry Smith from SmithMarco PC. Again, if you guys need any other services or anything, it will be in the description. So whether you're listening to this, whether you're watching this right now, either live or on the rerun, again, it's going to be in the description. So, all right, let's move on. Let's talk about where do you want to go? You want to start
wherever you want to go. We go with your flow.
All right. Well, one of the big things that has been talked about over the last couple of years that's now looking like it's starting to come to fruition is Uber and Lyft are finding ways to make more and more money by squeezing advertisements to the passenger during and before the trip. And they're going to be looking at different ways, not only to do it in app, in tablet. Oh, speaking of tablet, remind me later, because I do have something big that I want to talk about later. That's not even in the show, but we're just going to mention it. But then also they're going to be putting different advertisements up and stuff like that. So
here it is. Just when you thought you got rid of Uber. You know what? They've been testing this actually for the last 6 to 8 weeks. Obviously, it's going really well. So supposedly, according to them, it's free money. I mean, what they're going to do, which I thought, what? I usually, talk a lot of crap about these companies, but I think this is another brilliant idea of theirs. Just like the upfront fares.
For sure. I mean, think about it. If you can squeeze ads onto your platform when you open up your Uber Eats app to order, and then you get a little ad at the bottom or the top or something, hey, that's going to be advertisers paying them money on top of the ride or the delivery itself. It's just smart business on their end. But question is,
I think it's brilliant, right? So, and this is not on Uber Eats only, by the way. This is going to happen during trips. So let's say you order a trip from your house to, you're going out to a restaurant or you're going out to a mall, right? So what Uber is doing is Uber is going to do targeted ads on your way on the trip from your house after you get picked up all the way to the mall. So imagine, they're going to do very localized. Initially, it's not going to be like that, but ultimately that's what it's going to turn into. because according to Uber, it's going to add about $1 billion to their revenue by 2024. The guy's sitting in your car anyway. No, look, we all have ad fatigue, okay? Every time I get on Google, they try to sell me something. We all have that. However, I think it's a no-brainer when it comes to Uber and Lyft. And Lyft, we're going to talk about it as well. They're doing this too. You know, I don't see any downside on this. Now, in some cases, they may be asking the driver to put a tablet in their car. I wonder what the split's going to be, because I don't think as a driver you should put a tablet because Uber or Lyft is telling you to put a tablet to run their ads on you in your car. It's your private car. So what the break, you know, the split that we have in rideshare now, 50-50 almost, right? What is the split going to be? What are they going to pay the driver? We don't know yet. This is in trials. It's been going on. And of course, Uber sells it as, if you do watch our ads and we can sell you some additional stuff on your way to the mall, maybe a store or two at the mall is going to advertise because they know where you're going. Look, we know this. They have an immense asymmetric information advantage. They know where the passenger lives, what restaurants they go to, what bars they go to. They have all this information, right? So what better way to target ads towards that?
Well, yeah, you just said the key word, target ads. Think of it this way. You pick up how many times have you driven at night where you pick up somebody who's at the bar and then they're like, oh, I want to go get tacos or something. And the apps know this. So they can say, hey, we notice you're getting out of the bar right now because of your pickup location and you're going home, but we're going to show you this ad for, you know, that taco place that you really like going to. And that, why not just implement it into the system? Or even having it pop up on it's genius on their parts, but I want to know.
I don't know why they didn't do it before, honestly, because I thought it was like a match made in heaven, right? You have the drivers, you know, driving, nothing to do with it. The passengers in the back seat, just like you said, you know, maybe they're looking for some fatty tacos. I mean, hey, man, you know, or whatever. I mean, to me, it's like, I think it's brilliant. I think, you know, value added without really costing them anything. It's just a push ad in the app. Now, we know, okay, well, from my own experience with thousands of trips, I know for a fact that most passengers get in the car and they're mostly on some other social media, you know, checking their Facebook or Twitter or whatever, right? But most of them, you know, they order the ride, they just put the phone in their pocket most of the time or doing something else. But I think if they give him incentives, and Uber says so here, like it says right under the headline, the company claimed its dedicated advertising division will help it reach $1 billion in ad revenue by 2024 and will make rides cheaper, maybe.
Yeah, you know for a fact. You know for a fact those are not going to go down. They, you know,
there's one fact. There's one fact in that sentence. It's not going to make it cheaper.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. They might do it right at the beginning and saying, oh, we're adding ads. It's like Netflix's ad tier. They're bringing it at what, $8 a month or something. Just give it another year and they're going to bring it up to $10 a month. So it's the same thing right here. They might offset it just a little bit for the first little bit to say, oh, prices are coming down. And then all of a sudden they're going to do that frog boiling in the water again and bring the prices right back up to where they were, if not higher.
Yeah, I mean, I love this next paragraph by Scott Olson. You know, there was a different article. It says, it seems Uber just isn't content with letting users travel in peace and awkward silence, which is my car, during their point-to-point trips. The ride-hailing company now plans to advertise to users at every point of a trip from the moment you open the app. These ads will potentially appear on multiple screens, blasting consumers with new products with the same subtlety as a clown following the car on a kid-sized tricycle, trying to get your attention through the car window. That's hilarious.
I think Scott does not like ads.
No, Scott doesn't like it. No, Scott doesn't, because Scott has the ad fatigue.
Well, yeah. Now, here's the thing. If an ad starts popping up on my maps, I'm going to get, that's going to be really pissing me off, because first off, I want the map. I don't want to see no ad. But moving on to the next part of that, when it comes to the
Yeah.
article, there's a whole nother thing with this journey ad.
Yeah, well, that's they have another thing that they're testing called journey ads. They hired, by the way, Doctor Advertising from Amazon to run that division now. So God knows what that guy's getting paid. So these called journey ads. Journey ads basically are going to be single company ads. Like, let's say you're going to a bar. So they have signed deals already with major names like Heineken's and, tequila companies and things like that. I don't know if it's going to be legal though, but they did sign it. And so you're going to be bombarded with, like, if you're going to a bar, because they know you're going to a goddamn bar. And they go like, hey, maybe we suggest Heineken for you for the rest of the night. I'm going like, holy shit, what genius. Absolutely genius. You know what I mean? The guy's going to get plastered anyway. Might as well get plastered on the stuff I'm advertising you, as opposed to, having your own choice, right? So I'm like,
well, right here, if you read through, it says these journey ads are meant to hit riders through the process of getting an Uber. So, and it says they're going to be restricted to a single advertiser, meaning users will see the same product again and again while they're trying to get from one place to another.
Yep.
The problem with that is that I could see this changing to the point where they're going to do like a cycled ad. So, you know how you have those billboards that have the cycle through every, 10 seconds or so? Yeah. I could see something like that where then they're going to be like, well, we were going to do just one-off ads for one person through the entire duration, but let's cycle 3 ads. So we can not only hit them, on the way home, but they can buy something on Amazon and then whatever the next thing. So that's exactly what's probably going to happen down the road. They're just trying to feel the water to see how it works.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a no-brainer. Imagine, man, 1.875 billion trips, right? I mean, come on, you can sell anything on those trips. So I'm like, hey, man, you know what?
Oh, for sure.
To me, like, as long as the driver is not shut out of it, or if in case that you have to put some tablets or some iPads or whatever in the car, and then you give the driver 10 cents a trip, that's not going to fly. Most people are going to reject it. FYI, these ads for the consumer, as a consumer, you can opt out for now. I don't know what it's going to be in the future, but you can opt out because there's laws and regulations as far as bombarding people with ads, just like it is on Google, just like it is on YouTube. So to me, it's like, hey, man, this is brilliant. Okay, congratulations. Let's move on.
Well, the other thing, though, is, if they want drivers to put tablets in the car, it's going to come down to the name of the show. Show me the money. Because if you're not showing the money, why? I mean, why would you do it?
Yeah,
like I can
there's tablets out there, there's tablets out there like Octopus and stuff like that, and they throw you like $100. Or this, I resemble this, by the way, Chris, to like those rooftop, like what was it, flywheel or whatever it was.
You mean this one right here that Lyft has been testing out?
Oh yeah, Lyft, of course. Lyft cannot be too far behind. Lyft cannot be too far behind. Yeah, Lyft Halo. Yeah. So I'm like, hey man, you know what? I think it's a natural progression of the business. I don't know why they didn't do it before. There may be some laws that I'm not aware of, right? But so it says, Lyft says, we've been piloting this product in Los Angeles. Yeah, Halo. I see a lot of those rooftop. They make them look like more like cabs than anything else. And for advertisers, CPA, cost per acquisition, we're 60% lower on average than those leading digital and social media. Okay, fine, great. For riders, 1 in 4 engaged, that's 25% engagement. That's pretty good, actually. Engaged with tablet during the ride, and 98% rated the experience as positive or neutral. So they have all the data already. So now they know where you're going, what restaurants, what bar, what airlines, what hotels, and they're going to bombard you with targeted ads. I think it's brilliant. I just want to make sure driver gets their cut. Yeah. So, and then they according to their study, in-car tablets in LA, Chicago, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C., they're going to, display all these ads, right? And then I'm just looking out for the driver. I think it should be a fair split, okay? Because again, it's their private car, people, okay? Don't put these things in there, free. Please don't do it. And don't fall for like a dime or a trip or something. Just ask for something real, okay?
And don't fall for the automatic gold status.
No, please don't.
If that's
no platinum status. yeah, don't.
I mean, yeah, I get it. Hey, it's smart moves, and if they can incorporate the pay model to be, something that can actually be beneficial to drivers, that I think could be a win-win situation. But the thing
I
is,
think so too.
they have to make it where it's going to be worth it for the driver.
Well, we know what the history of their take rate is, so
yeah,
it may start nice. It may start nice.
right here. Oh wait, no, right here.
Oh yeah. Yes, bro. Kids TV.
Speaking of take rates, if you haven't watched our other contributor Joe, who is a regular on the Rideshare Guy, he's been having a little bit of gripe lately with Lyft, and I get it. A lot of drivers have been having some gripes with Lyft lately, especially the smartest decision in the world by some jackass moron who said, "Hey, gas prices are down. Let's take 55 cents off the ride." And what we were going to give the drivers because to help offset. And when that happens, gas shoots up $1.50 or something, and it's ridiculously high in California. I have not seen anything change, which I'm okay with. But they just announced that they are going to be adding a new fee.
Yeah. I laughed at this so hard. This came week after they got rid of the 55 cents. Hey, people, passengers, you know what? We should have a town hall of passengers. I think that'll be a wonderful idea. This is how badly you guys are getting screwed, passengers. So Lyft goes, yeah, we take the 55 cent the peanut from the drivers because gas prices took a shooting up to 7 in California, but that's okay. Guess what? Oh, wait, we'll take that 55 cents. We'll never return it to the to the passenger. We'll just keep it for ourselves. Because you know who said this, right? You know who said this, the same problem that they're having. The insurance costs rise, right? Does this company truly follow Lyft to the T? Because Dara on our interview said what? Oh, insurance premiums have tripled over the last 4 years. That's why the cost of insurance are so high. That's why our take rate has to go high. And I did an article on the new statement, by the way. It came out amazing. So we're definitely going to hit those with screenshots of mine. Beautiful article. So people, please go read it. It'll probably come out next week. And I'm like, of course, that's what Lyft did. Take it from the poor, the driver, give it to the rich, Lyft. I'm like, you would think they take the 55 cent surcharge away to help the passenger lower the cost of the ride. No. They go right. I'm like, bro, I'm so sick of this shit. It's not even
Cheeky. Funny. I gotta do a special shout out right now, Cheeky, because I keep seeing posts about around the area and Bills Mafia and that. So go Bills. Gotta take the little shout out there. But this is the problem that you're going to start seeing. You're going to start seeing these things tack up, and then all of a sudden, you're seeing 50-50. Then you're going to start seeing 60-40. 75-25, the opposite way of what it should be. And then it's like, well, here we're going to throw you peanuts at that point.
Well, I heard Formica like peanuts.
I'm assuming, but here's the thing. Like, what?
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, but this is what you're going to start seeing. You're going to start seeing, oh, we're going to have more service fee because of this, and we're going to have more of that. And
on the new statement, service fee is turned into commercial insurance now. I mean, seriously, I think it's one of my better articles. I broke it down like piece by piece. If anybody doesn't like this article and spams my blog, I'm going to find you and get you. Okay. So Vinny, I got to give Vinny Cuz a shout. I've been watching, he's another one of these guys, no BS kind of straight up kind of guys. He has his own little YouTube channel, but Vinny, welcome to the show. So yeah, this service charge is now turning into commercial insurance on the driver statement. Have you seen your statement lately? And then once they take all that out, Uber's take looks like 8%, because Dara said 20% will be fair.
Yeah.
So they
that
said
means
it's
means
so transparent now.
well, that's the thing. They're saying, oh yeah, all this money is going towards commercial insurance,
Yeah.
and they're 8%. So what he's basically saying is he wants to take more. So what you see, what I see, what all the drivers are seeing is passenger pays X, driver gets paid Y, and then Uber takes X or XYZ, whatever, Z, and Z continues to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what the thing is? The funny thing is, I was when I was doing the article, I do deliveries as well as rideshare, right? My rideshare statement looks completely different than my delivery. On deliveries, there is zero transparency. It says your fare and your tips. At least on the driver's statement for rideshare, it says this is an aggregate of what the passenger paid. These are all your deductions. This is all good. If you believe those premiums, that they're charging the passenger. By the way, this is not coming out of Uber's pocket. Uber is just making their take rate look lower by saying that, service fee is lower because we're paying for all this. And just like Lyft, we showed, they're complaining about higher insurance rates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, at some point, everybody should be an LLC and go get their own commercial insurance, because it's outrageous what you guys are paying for so-called commercial insurance. Yeah. So, yep.
Well, you know what? Actually, before we go on, first, smash that like button. If you join this, smash it. There was some great info, especially from our two lawyers that were on earlier. Great info when it comes to it, because this is something, again, you just want to have those insurance peace of mind in the background. Smash that like button. And then also, one quick thing for those who drive using an iPad, update. This is only for iPad M1 users and now M2 because they just announced it. If you use the iPad Pro M1 or M2, download iPad 16, iPad OS 16 or whatever. They have Sidecar now, so you can actually have both apps or up to 3 apps running at the same time. So if you're multi-apping, it's going to be much safer. You can actually have both Uber and Lyft opened at the same time right next to each other. No problems, no issues. And I got to say, I like it a lot better. So instead of trying to swipe through or something, so much easier doing it that way.
I've had double phones since the first day. So
Android, but
I love that game. Let's play that game. Let's
I got an iPhone, I got an iPad. I use my iPad for doing this.
Who downloaded, who bought a cheapy Android?
Who?
Gabe.
Oh, did he know?
Yeah, I know. I told him what to do. Within 10 minutes, he was in business. So I was like,
Oh, well, you will have to talk afterwards. I gotta see.
If you want to do some, no, nothing illegal. Nothing illegal, people. Uber, nothing illegal. Nothing.
Well,
but yeah, he's swimming in cash now up there. So talk about swimming in cash. Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, the whole thing is with Lyft, even though that we've had a couple of negative stories so far with them, trying to milk more money out of advertisements to get more money, and then adding some fees onto the service fee. They have been showing the money. They actually have been showing the money to quite a few drivers.
Finally. Okay, look at that little screenshot in the middle. This is an email. Okay, last week I received last Sunday. No, last Friday, sorry. So it says literally this is okay from Lyft to me. Sergio, we miss you. I go, I miss you too, Lyft. Except that your app sucks balls. But that's okay. I miss you too, buddy. Anyway, so I hadn't driven for Lyft for like 3 months, 2.5, 3 months, right?
Since cancellation school, right?
Yeah, huh?
Since cancellation school, right?
Yeah, since cancellation rehab. You know what? I have a great idea. I talked to a driver in Arizona, and he has an amazing character. I want to put on, you know how you go to for whoever's drinking in the AA part of AA, I respect you tremendously, okay? I want to do like a parody, right? You, Chris, you'll be the counselor. And we're going to have like a round table of drivers in cancellation rehab school. We do a parody. I'm gonna walk in. I go say, "Hey, I'm Sergio. Nice to meet you all."
Well,
I'm
you
a
know,
cancellation
Harry,
rehab school because I canceled on a crackhead.
hold on, Harry, if you're still watching, fly me out to LA,
Yeah,
and
man.
we could definitely do all this. Whether you know it's Harry, you, myself, we could get Gabe down. You know, Joe, Elijah,
Yeah,
Tyler,
yeah.
everybody coming
Joe. Oh my
down.
God, Joe would be amazing on that one. Yeah. So yeah, I want to do a parody for like 15 minutes and put it on the channel because that'll be hilarious, bro.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so going back to this story.
Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and stay tuned for an upcoming parody.
That's right. And then it'll be like a sitcom going forward. Okay, so Lyft says they miss me. So before this, on this week, on Monday, last week, obviously, on Monday, they sent me five trips for 85 guarantee.
Nice.
Well, like, that's like, what is that? That's like an hour of work for me for 85 bucks. I go, thank
Yep.
you, Lyft. So boom, I do it, set my DF, you know, extend my timer, do 5 trips, hour and 20 minutes active time, and done. 85 bucks. Then I'm thinking, okay, this is one and done. So once I'm one and done, I go like, I will never see this kind of offer again because I took their money, guaranteed on those trips. Lyft lost money. Then last Friday, they sent last whenever this is, I think it's Tuesday. They sent me this for the weekend. I go, what? How many trips is this? So I'm looking at it, and on the bottom it will say somewhere 17 trips for $265. So I'm going like, okay, 17 trips, $265, 4 hours, maybe 4.5 hours. I can knock out 17 trips in my area. But while I was doing that, I discovered something that I love about Lyft. I take all of it back, Lyft. I think your area preference or area filter is superior. So superior.
Oh my God, I'm
So
glad you
superior to
finally,
Uber's.
I'm glad you finally used it. It's
I
so
did, bro.
nice.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Mhm.
It was absolutely goddamn amazing.
Yep.
So I set it at 6 miles. Okay, that's my house. That's where I live. On the left screenshot, that doesn't look like me, but it's me. So I set it. Now I have a huge strategic advantage. Look at that map. See all that green stuff on my northwest and northeast?
Mhm.
That's the mountains, bro. There's nothing there.
There's nothing.
So all the tips this idiot app can give me is way on the bottom, within 6 miles of my house, right? And there are plenty of trips there because we have a college in there, college town. So I'm going like, okay, let's play with this. Let's play the game. So on the right, let's talk about the earnings first. So 5 trips on Monday, knocked them out for 75 or 85. I don't remember. 75, sorry, 75. And then on the weekend, it was 17 for 265. So knocked out another 17 real quick in 4 hours. So these are the numbers. You know, 8 hours online, which I was messing around with Uber Eats at the time, but I had my Lyft app on. So if you look at book time, active time, 6 hours, $350. What is that? Is that like $58, $55, whatever it is? And I was like, thank you, Lyft. We appreciate it. And this area filter, they call it area filter, Uber Carsel area preference. It is a wonderful tool. Please do not take this away from us. I absolutely loved it. It was trip after trip after trip, 17 trips. Seriously, I knocked it out in like 4 hours.
Now my question,
and my area is tough to do, huh?
Now the biggest question, LA is much different from Buffalo when it comes to these rides. So
Yeah.
for me, for my question to you though, having that with the 6 mile, now what was your average per ride?
Well, it's right there. It's right there. Look,
that we're
it's
coming
on
in.
my ride earnings, Chris. Look, I did 22 trips, right? Do you see where it says ride earnings, the first line?
Yep.
$109. So $5 a trip, all minimum to like 3 mile trips.
Oh yeah, that's a smart way to go.
Yeah. I don't think I drove more than maybe 60, 80 miles. And I took their $350. But during that, I discovered something else. You know what you love about Lyft, right? You know that
I know what I don't love about Lyft.
Okay, you know that the switcheroo, you love?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No more switcheroo.
Oh.
Look at the middle screenshot.
Uh-huh.
I am 7 minutes away from dropping off Nicole. That's in the car, right?
Yep.
Instead of adding it in the background, this little window pops up. Says that's adding to your queue. If you don't want it, click that X button and then don't add it to your queue. So now you know how far the next trip is going to be, all that good stuff. And this is like a 15-minute timer, a 15-second timer.
Uh-huh.
No more adding it without you knowing it.
Well, that's not the switcheroo. That's like the additional ride that you don't want to take usually.
I know.
But the problem is it's when you accept a ride and are on the way to pick up somebody where they're like, oh, the passenger canceled, or we're going to cancel it and then reroute you somewhere completely different. And that is the biggest problem I have with Lyft.
No, I know, but you know what? During those 17 trips during the week, it did not happen one time. Well, they added this to my queue, which before they would have added it anyway, but I would be blind. I don't know what the heck is happening after the first one, right? And this one, you kind of can reject it right here, right? On this screen. And if they add another one, another window pops up. So without you knowing, they're not adding anything. Yeah. Lyft, this is absolutely beautiful. Now, of course, that's under the assumption that you keep sending me 17 for 265 every week. That's a different story. So anyway, I did it wonderful. So go back to the last page, because let's have some people's minds blown, right? So I have a friend of mine who actually I coached about 4-5 months ago. So this is his earnings. Guess what? He had a 37 for 575 guarantee for the weekend from Lyft. He knocked out 42 trips in 5 hours. Now, a lot of people are going to say, you're full of S. This is not possible. Well, there are certain things you do in LA that are absolutely possible. He literally knocked out 42 trips, all $2.62 minimum trips in 5 hours. And there is his $700. There is his $140 an hour book time and $120 on online time. Anybody beats this, come talk to me. Okay, there you go.
Honorary Show Me the Money Club member.
100%.
Sitting in the CEO chair for this week.
You bet you, baby. The kid is an animal. He knows what he's doing. Well, he knows obviously what he's doing. This is absolutely mind-numbing. If anybody's making $140 an hour book time on Lyft, send me the screenshot. Unless you're doing Lyft Lux or some other Lux Black or whatever you're doing. This is all. He drives a 10-year-old Prius too, beater. He killed it. He absolutely killed it. So Lyft, I love the area filter. If you're watching, okay. I love that little thing. Box shows up in the queue saying that who's going next on my queue. And I love those guarantees. So keep them coming.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, those are nice. Lyft. Where's mine?
Is that kid driving Platinum XL vehicle? No, Ben. He's driving a 10-year-old beater Prius. Tun. Okay. He just knows what he's doing, though. Anyway, nice. If you're in LA, you shoot me an email. I'll tell you. Actually, maybe I don't know. Well, depending on what kind of guy you are.
Well, Sergio, I got a question for you. Do you remember we did a video? This is I don't know, maybe last year, maybe 2 years ago at this point now.
That was before me.
No, it was?
Yeah, well, before SMTNC.
The video was, we had caught wind of somebody saying that Lyft was scoring its drivers based on several different factors, and it was going to give them more rides or less rides based on their score. This was like Android versus Apple. This was touching your phone screen too much. So like distracted driving versus not. This is, several factors. And if you don't think they're not, if you think that they're not doing this, you are full of shit, because they are absolutely doing this. And this is going to be one of the ways, again, that's probably helping certain drivers maybe make more money versus less money if you're Formica versus not. So when it comes down to the upfront fares, because they're going to score you on several different factors. So then, if they want to curtail, those drivers that maybe get in an accident or have a likely or more likely chance of getting into an accident, they don't feed you as many rides as somebody who is better driving. And
Independent
they are going
contractors.
through this. Huh?
We're all independent contractors, right? Nobody's
Oh,
watching.
yeah.
Yeah, nobody's watching. Okay, I got to
Remember
answer these. Okay, quick. I got to answer these 3 questions. Michael Duva says, "Do you have to keep a certain level with Lyft, Sergio?" No, you don't. That kid, I don't think has anything more than a gold. But then that week, I think he got over gold because it's by points. So he killed it. He has a strategy. He deployed it and he killed it. Better get more proof than a screenshot. Bro, I know I speak to this kid almost every other day. He absolutely smashed it. If you get a 37 for 575 guarantee and you don't know what you're doing, get those minimum fares, how you do, then you need to, I don't know, you need to talk to a veteran in your area. Last one, because I don't see this as a bad thing, Chris, which no, you don't. It's like your FICO score, Vinny. It's like there's no more FICO score. They're gonna, grade you. There's like a total grade now. These companies are changing from just a rating, the 493, 495 rating. Big Brother is definitely watching. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's start with Uber.
Yeah. Okay. I got this from I get like 1,000 emails now a week. So I got this. I was like, this is so bullshit. This is fake. The guy goes, no, bro, this just showed up in my app. I'm like, it looks like the Uber app. And I'm like, holy crap, is this new? I don't know anything about this, by the way. I got this from a driver, no name, obviously, but I think I'm pretty sure these are legit. And he said it just popped up in his app. So, Lyft also is going this way, right? Now there's a driving score for a driver, which consists of many, many, many things. So they can deactivate you easier, probably, because before it was just a rating. If you fell like below 460, then it'll be like, you get deactivated. But now, no, they have many excuses to deactivate you now. Look at these things. Look at this is 2 pages of shit that they're collecting on you.
Oh, yeah.
There's a dashboard now that you can go and look at your score. So what trips will dashboard show? You'll see trips where you were driving for over the speed limit for a significant distance. I'm like, yeah, but the asshole in my back seat is yelling at me, get me to LAX, bro. Okay. So, there goes my driving career. It goes, can riders, customers, or other drivers see this information? No. Really? Okay. Yeah. I that's a lie. Can law enforcement access this data? Look where we're taking this, Chris. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then can I turn the dashboard off? No. We're not employees, by the way. We're independent contractors, people. Check this out. Riders, customers, and other drivers can't see the data, but Uber does. Uber's algorithm does. And if it falls below a certain number, boom, you're gone. And do you share this data? No. Can I turn the dashboard off? This feature is completely optional. But next sentence, you can't turn it off. It's optional, but you can't turn it off. Who writes this shit?
So in other words, you're going to still be alerted, but you can choose to ignore it, basically.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And then it goes, how can the dashboard help me? How's data collected? Every trip they collect data on you. All that good stuff. I'm going like, wait a minute. This is a little too much intrusion. I'm not your employee, sir. You do this to your employees. You see these trucks in front of you. It says, how am I driving? If you don't like it, call 1-800 whatever. It's just like that. I'm like, what the hell is going on, man? So of course, on this one, I think Uber is copying Lyft, because Lyft had this, I went through, right here. I went through my, cancellation rehab school. And this is what Lyft is doing too now. I'm going like, I have 82%, looking good. Okay, thank God. Understanding your score. Your driving score is based on your last 100 trips. It takes into account your cancellation rate, ratings, passenger feedback, safety, and service. Look at this shit. I am not your employee, man. You cannot say this to your employee. That will sue your ass. So my cancellation rate is 2%, which is okay, because I went to cancellation rehab school.
It's less than 5, so it's okay.
Yeah. My rating is 490. Look at the threshold for your rating. It has to be like 490 is your goal, bro. Safety flags, I have none, thank God. Now, I did not know this until I took these screenshots. I have 4 safety flags from which asshole passenger? I want to know. I don't know. What is even a safe service flag? Is it like, well, I didn't open their door? Is that what it is? I don't even know.
I don't know. It's because you didn't wipe hard enough or soft enough
No foot massage
after kissing their ass.
Yeah, no foot massage. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so driving score is a new rating system. Look at these two. That gives you overall understanding of your driving performance to help you take it to the next level. Driving score goes beyond passenger rating. This is becoming like, banks don't look at just your FICO score anymore. They look at like an aggregate of all kinds of shit now. AI is also involved in lending and stuff. I'm going like, if this is not treating me, now I'm actually going like agreeing with the Department of Labor. You can't do this to me, bro. I'm an independent contractor, man. I'm not your employee. You can if you hire me as an employee, give me minimum wage, give me insurance, give me all the protection. Then you go, you know what? You can't drive this fast. You have these flags, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's it. This looks to me like it's giving him more ammunition to deactivate drivers easily. Because before they would deactivate you for a couple things. Now they have like 5-6 different things in here that they can deactivate you for, and you won't even know why. So I'm going like, yeah, Norma, not on mine, Norma. Hello. How about the Uber one? Okay, there you go. So I'm like baffled, man. So anyway, do you have this, Chris?
I have something similar to this, but it's not. It doesn't have the whole thing. I did see something with the driving score though, but I didn't pay attention to it because it's like I know how I drive. I don't really need them to tell me how to drive. So there's that issue there. But yeah, I should actually look at that a little bit more next time.
Yeah, you should look. I'm falling into the warning area there. I'm 82%. It must be those 4 service flags. Those
I don't know, maybe. I mean, doesn't the 4.95 rating like boost you up higher?
Yeah, doesn't mean anything, I guess. And look at all my medals though they put there. 145 passengers said good driving. 139 said friendly driver. 130 said clean car. 90 said above and beyond. But my driving score is only 82%.
Yeah, how does that make sense?
I have no fucking idea. I don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah. So here's the thing. The question then becomes this is what they're telling you that they've collected. And it's still very vague at the points like the service flags. What the hell even is a service flag?
What is it? I don't know. I'm going to call them.
So, yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, what is this? Because you didn't offer them water? I mean,
I have no idea. But I don't know.
This is what they're telling you that they're scoring you on. What they don't tell you is what they're scoring you on that you don't know, which influences how much you're able to make on the algorithm or not. And if you don't think that's happening, I can guarantee you it is happening.
Oh, it's happening, people. This is in the app, man. I'm not going to make this shit up. I don't have time for this shit. Look at this shit. It says I have to be less than 6 on service flags. Okay, what is a service flag? It doesn't tell me, but it says I have 4. I'm like, I don't know.
And it's based on your last 100 rides. So you know what?
It must have been in those 22.
Well, it's probably those jackass riders who just score you low and then just hit whatever it is on the first thing right there.
Yeah.
Look at your last comment with service flag. Hold on.
Okay,
I gotta go back up and look.
My service flag back months ago was mainly because I used to keep the windows locked.
Oh,
that's a service flag?
It's a service flag. Well, I don't want people going up. There's a video that I had posted on my other channel. And it's a dash cam video where there was a couple that got in my car and the guy was drunk and she was fed up with him. And it was like, if they're in a relationship and this is like their normal relationship, they should really get out of it because it was that bad. But the guy was acting so insanely ridiculous. He started trying to lower and raise the windows on my car. And I'm like, I'm not having that. So I just locked the thing. And he's like, oh, look at that. We got in trouble. He locked the car. And the girl was like so pissed off at him. Like
he was acting like a child. That's why you fucking put the child lock on.
Yeah,
what an idiot.
Exactly.
What a goddamn idiot, bro. Look at
And
this shit.
people are
I have
complaining
4
about the
cervix
window lock.
flags.
No, I want the I want the windows down. It's nice out. I'm gonna enjoy some fresh air
What an
while I can.
asshole. No, I honestly, this is all like new shit. So people, don't call yourselves independent contractors. Big Brother is watching 24 hours a day. So there you go. There's
And
your independence right here.
it will absolutely impact the algorithm.
No, bro. The independence, my ass. What kind of independence is this? Look at this. This looks like a math problem with the, with the goals and you and this and that, bro. I'm just driving point A to B. Give me my money. Shut up.
Well,
anyway.
Yeah, but not only they're taking like a few things and mixing it in together. So it's like, oh, yeah, you want to have that at 100%. No, I don't really care if it's at 100%. I don't care if I hit gold or not on Lyft, because you don't offer me anything that I want to actually hit gold for.
So anyway, this is
like every one of these like rewards to me, I don't give a frigging shit about it. I really don't.
I don't either. But my thing is, now, honestly, I thought about this. I mean, I put at least 5 minutes of thought into this before I put this up as a subject, because we had the IC versus employee debate, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this is not treating me like an employee, I don't know what is.
Oh, 100%. It's that guiding hand again.
Yeah.
The control that's over you. And then we talked about this 2 months ago with the gamification of Uber and Lyft. Like, that's exactly what that is. They're putting it into this game where they're making it look like this graph that you could fill it up to 100%. You got to do it so you can hit gold at 80%, and don't get deactivated for whatever. But then, this is something I hope the FTC looks into when they're doing their investigations. Like, do these score systems truly impact you? Because if they do, and they say, hey, look, you can't do something like that, then hopefully maybe those scoring systems can actually change. But how far are they going to actually go into it?
But if you're going to put 4 service flags there as warnings, you should tell me what I did wrong.
Oh yeah, I'm saying? Sure.
I'm like, okay. Yeah. I go like, hey man, it's like whatever. So, and then there was the Norma, I love you too. I don't know. I think we have to have Norma on the ladies panel. IC doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. Okay, Norma, if you have this in your app, doesn't this treat you like an employee with all these guidelines that you have to follow? But if you go below an 80%, you may get deactivated, all that good stuff, man. Come on, man. Look at whatchamacallit. Look at Uber's. Uber's goes like, whoa, we have all these things we're watching, you cannot opt out. You cannot turn it off. But like, what's going on here, man? So anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things that,
not on
when it comes down to deactivations too.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know? So like, and then the other thing is, it says it's based off of the last 100 rides. So does it really come off after 100 rides if you get greater than 6, or does it just knock you out of, being in good standing for gold?
Yeah.
Like, what is it really going to come down to? So I could see it's just the grooming process of getting it into there.
Yeah, hopefully before I get deactivated, they give me another guarantee.
My Lyft score says I don't mount my phone 60% of the time. Is that true though? Now, do you mount the phone? Yes or no? Because that's the other, like, if you mount some of these mounts, like mine is I have a mount that goes right into the vent.
Yeah,
and if the way it's held right now, it's actually held in pretty sturdy. But if it was angled just a little bit different, it would make it seem like it's out, because it would be so much more wiggly. It's just the way I was able to actually get it.
That's a service flag?
Yeah. I'm assuming you're supposed to have a phone holder.
Whatever. Anyway, so send me a couple more of those guarantees before you deactivate me. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, here you go. All right, before we move on, we got 63 likes and 100 people watching. Smash that like button, everybody. So smash it.
Yeah, at least, let's get us to 100 at least. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the next thing, and that is, we talked about stay within area, which is Lyft's by far more superior area preference when it comes to Uber versus Lyft on area preference.
No doubt.
Uber, what are you doing? You're getting worse and worse. I mean, like, if Lyft continues this improvement, they might be the app of choice
make
for
that up.
drivers. But if Uber, we're still trying to give you a fighting chance, but this is surely not going to help you here.
Uber takedown, bro. Here comes. You know this willy-nilly declining trips. Because I know from myself, the acceptance rates in the country are collapsing. I'm not laughing. I mean, it's not funny. For passengers, of course, they're waiting a lot longer. So, well, guess what?
Linda,
Uber started taking stuff back. Thank you, Linda. Uber started taking stuff back. The area preference, which originally I liked until I saw Lyft and tested Lyft. Lyft is like by far superior. But let's say area preference. Oh, by the way, the Lyft's area filter doesn't have a timer on it. It doesn't expire. You could be on it for like hours. I'm like, wow, amazing. So we had this thing, Uber came up with area preference, which I absolutely loved. Okay. Because today I don't want to drive more than 10 miles of my base. So hit my area preference and stay there. Although their area preference setup is a lot different than Lyft's. On Lyft, you can adjust the area with that little, slider that you have from 5 miles to 30 miles. Now, I don't know who would put it at 30 miles, but let's say somebody does. However, on Uber's, LA County is split into like 6 huge pieces, okay? But only one of them, which includes downtown LA, a little bit, manageable area preference. So when I get there, if it's surging in the morning, I'll click it, and then I'll just work in that area. Well, guess what, people? You will not have area preference unless you're platinum or diamond. So if you're blue or gold, and the reason you're blue or gold, by the way, because you could have been platinum 3 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago until Upfront destination and prices showed up. Because right now your acceptance rate is absolutely collapsing. It's like in a tailspin.
That should be like their number one thing to say. Why is acceptance rates from people who are accepting everything now going down? I wonder. It doesn't. I mean, DK said it when you talked to Harry. If we're not pricing rides correctly, we want. Look, I'm right there. I agree 100% with DK on that. Yeah. I want my acceptance rate to be 100% also. Yes. I want it to be there.
Yes.
Stop giving me crappy rides that aren't paying anything.
Do you know?
Otherwise, I'm going to deny it.
Do you know what the Seattle average acceptance rate is? Seattle city acceptance rates? I have those numbers.
I am going to say it's probably about 90 to 94%, somewhere in that range.
You hit the nail on the head. It's 92%.
I'm good. And you didn't tell me that until just now.
No, I did not. No. Because you know what? You put one and one together. $1.50 a mile, 65 cents a minute. Why would I decline trips? Right?
Exactly.
Okay. So now I have did all my channel checks because I'm prepping this report for this hedge fund. I'm telling you, acceptance rate you know how that airplane is doing the spiral and crashing into Earth? Every diamond, every platinum driver has collapsed into gold and blue because these trash trips that they're sending on UberX, it's just not worth it, right? So now Uber goes, oh, wait a minute. Now that we have everybody out of diamond and platinum, well, we're going to tell them area preference. That's something drivers, they really loved, really, really liked. Well, it's only to platinum and diamond drivers. No more. If you're blue or gold, it says, by the way, this came out like a week ago in my app. And it says, if you're blue or gold status by the end of the current Uber Pro qualifying period. Do you know where the current Uber Pro qualifying period ends, Chris?
October 31st.
Exactly. So you people have about a week to go through Hell Week and accept every garbage ping so you can get yourself up there.
Nope. I don't need area preference. Because I can see where the pickup and drop off is. Yeah, so exactly. If I don't want to go to that location, this
is good. This is good. You know why it's good? Because seriously, I know you can do that cherry pick all you want, whatever. But we did this last week. They're logging you out, bro.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah. So I got that shit going on. So anyway, look, guess what? Next week we're going to talk about this. So I'm going to save the surprise. I am one of those two. Not blue or gold. First time in my life ever, I am one of those two. Top two.
What?
I'm Formica, baby. You know, when you need to, sometimes you need to Formica. Okay.
Oh,
So there was one question I got to go. Sergio, if you're on Uber, who would you rather give a ride to, someone who accepts 90% of rides or someone who accepts 30% of rides? Norma, I think you're in Florida. I've been driving in LA for the last 7 years. I have never, ever, ever been above blue, and I make at least 50 to 80% the average driver does. So I do not buy that Kool-Aid. Do not drink that Kool-Aid. Uber algos do not send you better trips because you're at 90%. They never did. It's all about supply and demand and positioning yourself. If they are sending a food delivery trip to a low acceptance rated driver, it's because they're needed. And I guarantee you, in rideshare, you cannot. The demand is so high, Norma, that you cannot just only send your best trips to 90 percentile Formica, not a word. Okay, there you go, Norma. So yeah, but guess what? I am one of those top two, Chris.
wow. Congratulations.
How?
Well, we could get into that in a second, but the one thing that I want to take note at this, it says area preference as an Uber Pro reward. Hi, Sergio. My favorite thing is this next thing. Good news. It's going to become a reward, even though we gave it to you beforehand, not having a reward.
Norma, 95% acceptance rate and a 2% cancellation rate. I'm sorry, Norma. Great job. You love Uber and you take every trip that they offer you because they're all profitable. I have another good friend down in South Carolina, Jeff, who does exactly what you do, pretty much accepts everything, right? And doesn't cancel. Look, you may be looking at this gig as public service. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with you. However, as adults, we agree to disagree. I don't think you get better trips than a 30% cherry picker, my opinion. You cannot prove it. Earnings will prove it. So to me, wonderful job. I hope that diamond got you what. Actually, you know what? Stay diamond, by the way, because you remember what DK said. There is a cash rewards coming for platinum and diamond drivers. Remember?
Yeah, that's supposed to be coming this month, November 1st.
That's why I became
next week. So
I'm up there.
Oh, we got a shout out to Ryan here. Started driving 3 months ago. Helped the RSG helped guide and made you aware how to make the most money possible. Lyft, Uber driving. Thanks for what we do, or thanks for what we do. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, Norma, you cannot hog the stream. Okay, hold on a second. No, I'm retired at 55. No mortgage, no young kids. Okay, fine. 19 an hour before expenses. Come on, Norma. You're better than that. Come down to LA. Let me teach you how to make $50 an hour.
Hey, you know what,
Norma? I'm kidding.
Hey. Well, some people might like to go out and make the money. Some people might like to go out and just enjoy the time out, and don't really necessarily worry about the money. So everybody's reason is going to be different. So hey, if you're out, if you're enjoying, that's what matters. Could you make more money? Yeah, you could. But do you want to? It's up to you. So
hey, people, stay gentle and respectful to each other. Norma does what she does because she's retired and she enjoys driving people around, and so be respectful. All right, next one.
All right, well, we kind of touched on upfront fares the last several weeks because there's quite a few things going on with it. So we want to make you aware of a few other things when it comes to upfront fares, so you be on the lookout, you watch out for them.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
So our friend Tony that we should have again in a month or two, right? Tony here in LA. That was like such a fun show, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the other day he goes, I got this trip, and I'm going like, okay, there's absolutely not a goddamn thing wrong with that trip. $54, 11 miles. Obviously, morning rush hour. You can tell 8:08 a.m. LA traffic is horrible. But I go, if it came in at 53, 54, 11 miles and 51 minutes to LAX, which most likely you're going to grab a trip going out of there, going back to where you are with Upfront destination now. I'm like, no brainer. all day long. 54 bucks an hour, bro. Come on now. He goes, yeah, but I don't know why they paid me so much. See, these drivers are always complaining about something. They don't get paid enough.
You're like, wait, why?
Why am I making so much money? I'm going like, I'm going to kill myself, man. You know, all these comments, all the videos we do, 10,000, 20,000 views, people comment right and left. They make money, they complain. They don't make money, they complain. I'm going like, what's going on in this world? So anyway, so he goes, how's this possible, Serge? I go, well, Upfront fares that they liked you. Okay. They paid you 54 bucks for 11 miles, which is like, what is that, man? That's like $5 a mile, pure profit, and 51 minutes of your life, 52 minutes of your life, with a potential very lucrative trip coming out of LAX if it was surging. So I'm going like, okay. I go, you do probably realize that they charged the poor soul over $100. This is our conversation. So because I did the statement article now coming out next week. They took the passenger receipts away now. You cannot look at it on your app right after the trip ends.
Yeah,
you have to dig into the you have to dig into the website.
Yep.
Yeah. So and then they called it more transparent. I go like, all right, okay, whatever.
Just so like good news with the area preference now becoming a benefit.
Yeah.
Or pro reward.
Oh yeah. That, piece by piece, these things are all going to go. My over under is going to be correct. We had the conversation. Remember? I go, my over under is 3 months for Uber to take away this upfront destination shit because people are just absolutely declining requests right and left. So anyway, I go, that's wonderful. Why are you complaining? He goes, no, I'm not complaining. But now that you said, they probably charge the passenger. He goes, they didn't probably charge him that much. It's like, I go, believe me, they probably did. Because Uber algo usually is reasonably fair. They probably charged this guy over $100, so they gave you about half the fare. He goes, I'm going to go on my app, check it. If you're right on this, I'm never going to argue with you again. Well, guess what? Guess what they charge the PAX? $102.52.
Oh, damn. That's for a 10-mile-hour ride.
Yeah. You know what the cab rates are in LA, Chris? You know what the cab rates are in LA?
Well, $3.50 a mile.
$2.75 a mile.
Okay.
This guy paid $10 a mile. 102 divided by 11 miles. I'm going
do they do? I mean, don't they do time too for cab rates? So what you got 275 mile, but what's
275 and 60 cents every fifth of a mile. So in a cab, this trip probably would have been not more than 60 with tip. Okay. So much for your convenience.
But if you look, it's because of that surge. So he made $6.25 on the surge.
Yeah, but the passenger got charged probably $50 on that surge.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So, and this is the new receipt, by the way. So Uber only made $38. Okay. Oh, there you go. While we're at it. Okay. Airport fee goes out of passengers. It goes to Uber and directly to LAX. You guys see this California driver benefits thing? That's Prop 22, people. That nobody gets to see a dime of that anywhere. I don't even know who runs the accounting, but we'll have big news coming on that one. This is the new breakdown, Chris. Do you see where it says commercial auto insurance? So Uber bought commercial auto insurance for those 11 miles and 52 minutes worth $5.55. You believe that? $5.55?
I mean, if you're adding the payment card fee in there and stuff, and then what are the other expenses? I mean, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
That's that. I'll give it. That's about all I can say there.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, look at the middle screenshot, Chris. Do you see the middle screenshot? Okay. On the way bottom, you know where it says Uber X priority?
Yep.
See that $3.50 they charged the poor? They paid Tony the $3.50. So when you are an idiot passenger and you click I want priority pickup, that's when the $40 surge came in on their end. They go, oh, sucker, you pay $102. Now, in this case, let me tell you this. This is wonderful. This is win for the driver, win for the passenger, win for Uber. Why can't
Wait.
life be like this all day long?
Hold on. Time out. How is this a win for the passenger?
Well, he paid it, didn't bitch it, didn't complain. He paid it. He thought his convenience factor was worth $102.
Okay.
FYI, this is Uber X, by the way. This is not like Select or Lux or whatever.
Yeah, it's just that Uber X.
But
priority.
it's Uber X priority. Uber X priority. Priority, you get ripped. So I'm like, yeah.
So in other words, we're gonna try to get you the somebody who's like 2 minutes faster. But yeah,
it usually is not. So so you have to do in LA 10 of these a day. There's your $500. There you go. $50 an hour. There you go. Anyway, do you guys in LA get more than 20 surge? Yeah, we get, bro. Halloween is coming. $40, $50 surge coming up.
Halloween's big. Yep.
Big. This year is going to be huge.
This weekend, drivers out there, this weekend is going to be a big weekend. There's a lot of parties going on. There's a lot of things happening. There's going to be a lot of demand for rides and food delivery. So position, plan, and what was the other P? I can't think of it.
Come on, Chris. Come on, man. Patience.
Yeah. No, you don't even need patience at that time. You're just going to continue going.
Yeah, but you need to pick the ones that are the best for you. Yeah. So yeah, Halloween weekend, people. Okay, because our show is going to be on Tuesday. I'm going to drive on Halloween at least 15 hours. If I don't make $750, I'm a jackass. Now, the other thing is, why is Halloween going to be great this year? It's on a Monday. It's on a work day. So people are going to make an excuse of working, partying Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be bleeding in LA, baby. There we go.
Yeah, all over the place.
Weasel is not here today. I'm disappointed.
What's up?
This one, on the other hand,
this is what to watch out for. Like Uber, the first one, that's what you want to look for in a ride.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not always going to be like that. Let's be real. You need to know what where you want to accept it versus where you don't want to accept.
No, but there are a lot of those
hands down win. But these are some things you got to watch out for when it comes to these upfront earnings.
Yeah. Okay, so this was sent to me again by a driver. So I get like so many good ones now, Chris, that I have to actually like pick and choose now because so this guy says, short trip, I accepted the trip. What do I say always on the show, people? I say, take screenshots. Okay, please. And a lot of them go, well, it's 6 seconds. And, I don't have the time. I'm like, well, if you don't have the time, you can't argue about this. He got his money back. So the ping screen, as you guys see, comes in. $125 surge, 494 rated passengers. 3 minutes, 8 miles away. I don't know what that is. Okay. But then on the bottom right-hand corner, there is 3 dots on the Uber app for everybody. When you click on the 3 dots on your way to the passenger, you will see the background screen with the guy's name and the surge amount that's attached to it. Well, guess what Uber did? Uber goes, oh, $125, way too much. We're going to lower it to 16 cents. I go like, huh? So if you accept the trip and front screenshot says $125 and the back screenshot sometimes will say none, because then Uber will come into you and says, well, where the passenger was at that time was not surging. That's why we take that into consideration and don't pay you. I go, F you. I have a screenshot. Pay me my $125. Not a big deal. But they lowered from this poor guy to 16 cents. I mean, that's a joke. What is that? At least you should give him a quarter.
I've never seen anything under $1.
Oh, there you go, buddy. Right there.
I've never seen anything under $1, though.
Well,
So I don't have any idea what that's all about. But wow, yeah. I mean,
I have the fare page. I have the fare page, Norma. These are all confirmed. I don't put anything up without confirming the stuff. So you have to trust me on this. I know you're new here, but you have to trust me on this. So what else we got, buddy? But that LA passenger, $102 for a 10-mile trip, $10 a mile, baby.
That's nice. That's nice
like,
right there.
I mean, look, Tony killed it. $54 for an hour. Hell yeah. 10 miles. How much gas did he burn in 10 miles?
Oh, not a lot.
A quarter of a gallon.
Not enough to be a problem.
Not enough to be a problem for $54. That was wonderful. Yeah. All right.
Well, I mean, let's be real. If it took almost an hour, you're going to have the gas of idling and all that. So you probably ran maybe a gallon.
Yeah, traffic is horrible.
So,
Sergio, they're screwing with you in California. Not really, bro. Not too many people screwing. But Tony is right. Yeah. If I see that, guess what's happening? Ding, cancel. I ain't picking you up for no surge. All right. Do we have anything else?
No, that's it.
That
So
was it?
we're gonna do a little wrap up. First off, thank you everybody for watching. Again, anybody who's watching, and if we do this live Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. If you can't watch, we always have the rerun on available on YouTube. But not only that, we also have an audio version of the podcast. So if you're out driving or anything like that, you want to listen to it, all major podcasting platforms have Show Me the Money Club. All you gotta do is just search Show Me the Money Club, or even go to rideshareguy.com/Show Me the Money Club. Not only that, we've got how many people right now? 100 people, over 100 people watching. Smash that like button, guys.
Yes,
Smash it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just a click, man. Come on, man. We're not asking for anything. We're putting all this dog and pony show for nothing.
Don't smash the like button for Sergio and myself. Don't smash it for us. Smash it for the amazing info that we got earlier today, especially when it deals with deactivations, unjust deactivations, when it comes to background check deactivation problems or false problems with background checks with Larry Smith. Again, his information is going to be in the description, so check that out in case you need that. Then also, accident or injury or anything from an accident while on rideshare or food delivery or package. LegalRideshare with Bryant Greening. So thank you very much for them coming on. We have great information. That one screenshot too that Bryant sent us, like things that you should do in the event of an accident. We're going to make that available on the YouTube community post. So that's something that, when that goes on the community post, snapshot that, have that in the back of your phone, just in case something happens, you have that. So you can check that checklist off or something like that. So, these extra side hustle, we hit 2 hours already. So we don't have a side hustle today. We will be having a side hustle next week, though.
Next week,
so just giving us crap.
The other thing is, I think we can just make a little teaser. Okay, people, next week we have the CEO of Para on our show. Guess where this guy worked for 1.5 years and he was a superstar at? And he set up all their Vegas operations. Starts with a U. Uber.
I was going to say
Uber.
I was going to say something else.
No. Uber, right? So he has a new app called Para, which he's in a life and death battle with Uber and Lyft and Uber Eats and DoorDash. They're trying to shut him down. Just like driver helpful apps came and went because these companies don't want all the information released to the driver, right? Especially on the delivery side, hiding tips and all that kind of shady shit that they pull. So yeah, Rodeo too. Yes, Tony, Rodeo too. Steve will be on as well, but he's like the prop. The guy, the gift is the Steve's watching this. He's like, there you go. No, Steve, you're not a prop. You're a handsome gentleman. So,
a special shout out to Gary and Steve, because I was in their live the other day, and they're doing like this $25 giveaway, and I won it. So thanks,
no
guys.
way,
yeah,
no way, god damn, shit.
So and then their show coming up in a couple of weeks. They're doing $100 giveaway for it. So I just had to say special shout out to them with their show. So thanks.
Got the lottery, bro. There you go.
Yeah, that was part of my gas money coming back from Vermont last week.
There you go.
Well, technically the other day.
So I'm trying to find out if David still has an NDA with Uber. That's non-disclosure agreement, because he quit, I think, like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, maybe. If he doesn't have an NDA, huh?
usually run out after a certain time frame.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out because imagine what kind of juicy questions we can ask David about Uber. All right, so that should be a good one, and I don't even know what we have after that, but one at a time, right?
Oh, we have but we're also planning a women's town hall coming up, which will be really interesting as well too. You know, we got quite a few things you know, that we have coming up.
We got to have Norma on the female town hall. Norma Stitz, I got her name. We got to have you on the women's panel, Norma.
All right.
And Driven Dad, which is Tony in Denver. Lisa is doing the wonderful job with getting the ladies' voices out. Okay, and in fact, we put it on our community page. Their latest episode of the panel that she ran. Right. So, yeah, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful idea to get, because women are about 50% of the industry. So, and Norma and Roxy, these two from RSG, are going to be on that panel, Lisa. Okay.
All right. Well, let's get it going, and then we'll figure it out. But yeah, we got some great shows coming up for you. So smash that like button. Also subscribe if you're not. I mean, if you're watching this, you should be already subscribed, because we got a lot of great content. Not only, you know, this Show Me the Money Club, but also our normal videos with all of our great contributors.
Yes.
You know, covering not just rideshare, but food delivery and, you know, package courier and all these different apps that are popping up and coming to. So make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. All right. With that being said, smash that like button. Oh, all right. 89 likes. Keep it going. Keep it going. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. See you guys next week.